Hi, I'm Linda Lambert. I'm one of the Red Wheelbarrow writers, and today we are talking with LORINDA Boyer, who, if I had a copy of her book handy, I would hold up right now and show it to you. But I don't have a copy of it, so maybe she'll put it hanging, she'll show it. There we go, straight enough. And we will be talking about that a little bit, but we're also going to be talking about this one, which is the new anthology for Red Wheelbarrow writers called Spring and All. And she has an essay in it, and it is called, I will tell you in just a minute, Show Them Love. LORINDA has a short biography in the back of the book. And since it's so short, I'm just going to tell you what it is. She has been, when she's not writing, she's a personal trainer and a fitness instructor. She enjoys running, cycling, and coffee. I don't know if she wants to say more about that. And she's a dang good writer. I'll just say that. So, and because there is a passage in her essay that I really like, I'm going to read it. It's on page 197 of Spring and All, and here it is. She is in the 40th Pride Parade in Seattle. And there are some guys with religious signs who obviously are not very happy with gay people. And they are confronted by some drag queens and other people in the streets of Seattle. It's really kind of fun. As if on cue, a float bursting with posh drag queen slows in front of the Peacock Queen. That's how she's described. You'll have to read more to find the more specific descriptions. Garmented in gowns, miniskirts, and hot pants with their faces close shaved as well as fully bearded and mustached, the drag queens leap from the flatbed. Without hesitation, they link arms like rockets and skip in unison toward the men. The Peacock Queen twirls on her heel, pushes a few buttons. Sister Sledge's "We Are Family" blasts from the speakers. A collective cheer emerges from the crowd. I just love that discussion of what happens, but I like even more what happens next. I wonder if you can paraphrase that a little bit, LORINDA.
What happens next? The queens have jumped off the truck. They're all linking arms. They are going to confront the men who have been carrying signs against homosexuality, against gays. And instead of what we all, I think as a crowd, thought was going to be a fight, the queens surrounded the men and just linked arms with them as if they were their friends and started to dance down the street with them. And the men were so taken back by what happened. They didn't know how, they didn't respond. They just went along with it. And the signs came down and there was no need for police. And the parade went on as if nothing had ever happened. And it was a shock. It was a shock. One of the happiest things I think I've ever witnessed, but it was a shock. Yeah, we all just kind of looked at it like, wait, did that just happen? Should we rewind that a little bit? You know, did we really see that? And that was it. The queens diffused the entire thing just by being lovely.
That was brilliant. I don't even think they probably knew what was going to happen. They just did what seemed natural to them to do. And
Yep.
that's probably the reason that you came up with the title, Show Them Love.
Yes. Yes.
What was it like writing that? Did that come easily, or did it take a bunch of work, or how'd that go?
You know, it's one of my favorite memories. It stands out so much to me because it was the first Pride Parade I ever attended in Seattle. I had never been before and I didn't know what to expect. And Sandy, my wife, had prepared me for the fact that it might get a little scary because there may be protesters,
Yeah.
so in my mind, I was like, oh, but then I got there and it was just so exciting and so beautiful. And kind of forgot about the fact that there could be something scary happening. So this thing sticks out in my mind so well that when I sat down to write it, it all just kind of came back. And it was fun to write because I knew the ending was good. I
She
knew
did
it.
have a little bit of being scared
I
during.
did, yes. And reliving that now, I think in my mind, it doesn't seem as scary to me now because I know more and I feel more confident. But at the time, I was a very baby lesbian out of the closet, and I was really scared all the time. I had it in the back of my mind that that something terrible was going to happen because I was, out, and that kind of confirmed my worst fears for a moment. And so I panicked pretty hard. And then, so the way it ended was so beautiful and such a surprise that I've never forgotten how I felt in that moment and how elegantly these people took care of what could have been a disaster. It was almost as if it were staged, but I know it wasn't, and so to watch them kind of come off that float and just start surrounding them, I remember feeling inside, this is another reason why I love Pride so much. I love that everyone just wants to love everybody. Like it just feels so true, right? Like how often are you in a place where everyone is so loving and like true, they really did care. Like they did want to diffuse the situation. They did want to show them that, like, look, we're not out here to hurt you. You can believe what you want to believe, but like, we just want to be happy. We just want to be happy and have our day. So come along with us. Let's just do this thing,
How did Sandy feel when you talked about this experience with her? How did she respond to it? What were her feelings, during it all?
She was she again so she has been out since Stonewall. She she's been out a long time. So she doesn't get scared the way I did. She was more annoyed and kind of like, oh, here we go again, sort of a thing. I think she was worried about me because she so badly wanted to show me this thing for the first time and have it be only a positive experience. And so I think there was a moment where she felt, oh no, this isn't how I wanted this to go. When we talked about it afterwards, we were both just so amazed by what happened. And I think it kind of restored a little bit of faith in her heart too, because, it's difficult. She's seen so much more than I have and experienced so much more than I have. And so I think it just kind of restored her faith in just in love as well. Like, we really do just want to love you. We don't want to fight. We don't want to fight with you. We just want to love who we want to love.
Yeah.
So
I remember in the piece you talk about you were separated from her and you sort of looked for her head in this crowd of people and you couldn't find her, and then you saw her and then you were separated again. So it really showed the sort of roller coaster feel of your emotions going through this, and yet it had such a good ending.
right. Yeah, it was scary. And I was for a moment you have like this, I had this like panic, like, what if I never find her again? I'd never seen so many people in one place before. And I was, I'm such a country bumpkin, and like going to Seattle is a big deal for me. And to be surrounded by that many people was really not my element. And so
Yeah.
I was pretty scared, but also I felt like it was my community, and I felt loved there. I mean, the community itself felt good. I was scared because I thought that something terrible was going to happen because of these few men. And now that I think about it, I mean, it really wasn't that many of them, but but they have made such an imprint on my life, or people like them, that I
Yeah.
was more afraid of them than and now I look back and I think, but there were literally hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people who felt the same way I did, who were not going to let anything bad happen. But it was scary for a few minutes there. Yeah.
Well, I'm really pleased that you had that experience and that it could be included in spring and all, because
Thank you.
I'm really impressed with this volume. I think it's the best of the 4 that Red Wheelbarrow Writers has done. And there's no other piece in this book like yours. Well, I really can't say that. I haven't read every single one, but I've read most of them, and I
Yeah.
think I can say that. It's a powerful piece.
Thank you.
And I can kind of, speaking of the word power, I can see you powering through writing that as you do through physical fitness and training. And I'm just wondering, your dogged attitude towards life, despite this little underlay of scaredness about coming out, how that all works together in your daily life and in your attitude, fitness, writing, drinking coffee.
Yeah. Which powers both of them. I've loved both writing and physical fitness since I was young, since I was a middle schooler. And physical fitness for me is like, I love the challenge. I love challenging myself. I like to see how far I can go. Like I wasn't really born with an athletic body. I was a chubby little kid.
You were a chubby little kid.
I was, yes. I broke the chair in band class. Like I was like definitely not I was shy. I was not popular. I was chubby. And so but I kept telling myself that someday I was not going to be chubby. And when I found exercise and I started working out and I realized how great it made me feel and how strong it made me feel, I was hooked. And the same thing with writing. I felt like writing from a really early age was a place where I could go and just be stronger than I felt in real life. I could write anything. I could make up anything, it was an escape. It was like a way to let feelings out. It's how I felt about reading as well, And so now I've done lots and lots of, marathons, like running is my thing. So lots of marathons, lots of triathlons, and knowing that I can make it through those physical challenges, maybe I'll be last, but who cares? I can make it, makes me also feel like, with writing as well, like it might not always go easily, like the words may not always come out easily, but I know I can do it because I can do hard things. I can do hard physical things. I know I can do hard writing things, and both things can be really hard, but they also make me feel really good and really proud and strong.
That's pretty good synchronicity.
I think so.
So, what's your writing practice like? Do you have a regular time you write? Do you do it when the spirit moves you? How do you factor that into your day? And well, just say more about that.
All of my energy happens early in the day. I get up really early. I work out really early. I teach fitness classes early, and then I sit down and write. And if I don't do that, then it gets pushed off because then I need a nap. And then once I nap, you would think I'd spring up and be all like, woohoo, but no, I don't. I don't spring. I sit up quietly and then think, maybe I should put on my jammies and just watch a movie now. So my writing practice is definitely a morning thing. Right after I'm done working out, I usually sit down at the computer and start writing, or editing something, or, working. Like this year, I've really focused on writing smaller things and entering more contests and more. Yeah, I decided that writing my book was emotionally and so time consuming, my first and only book. And the thought of sitting down and trying to do that again was kind of terrifying. So I thought, I'm gonna do some smaller things and see how that goes. So I've entered a lot of things, and I've had some really fun stuff happen. So that's been my thing. As I sit down and I'll like decide, okay, I'm gonna try to finish this and turn it in, and that's what I do. So
So what's some of the fun stuff?
I entered a blog contest and I won first place.
Whoa,
Yeah, so that was cool. I've entered a couple like funny poem contests. And I'd never written a poem before, but now I've written two funny
very
ones
good.
and entered those. My piece that for the Red Wheelbarrow writers was before it got accepted here had won like it hadn't won, but it had ranked high in like a another contest. They didn't ultimately choose it, but
Yeah.
it got ranked up there in the high. I've written a couple other pieces for the Story Circle Network, which is it's a women's writing
Oh,
group, which is really cool. Yeah, so that's what I've been doing, and I love it. I love the feeling that it's a little shorter, so it's almost like running a shorter race. Like, when you prepare for marathons and half marathons, it's like, oh, the prep, and then you go on this long run and you're like, whew, that took it out of me. But short runs, you just run a couple days a week and then you go out and do like a 5K or something and you're like, well, that was cool. And I got like treats at the end. So like with
and a t-shirt, another
yeah,
t-shirt.
I love it. And then the shorter writing pieces is the same. Like you get feedback sooner and yeah, it's been fun. I like it. And it's kind of energizing me to think about writing another book. So that's good.
Yeah, I've been trying to do some shorter pieces too, because it just feels good to have something finished, even if it's just a 100-word paragraph, and you can look at the tiny love stories in the New York Times that are just 100 words, and I haven't submitted anything there, but I plan to. There's just this nice cogent little piece of literary fruit that you pick off the tree of your life,
Yeah.
and it's finished and it's satisfying in a way. And anyway, I think writing small, I think just writing, whether it's small or medium, whether it's a different genre like poetry, you're proud of those 2 poems that you wrote.
I know, yeah. Yeah, I think it's important too. I think it's important to stretch yourself, just like, with physical activity. You don't know what you can do until you try it. So,
Oh, I know. When I met well, it's a long story, but anyway, I was adopted and I met my brother, my found brother, and he's really an athlete and a baseball freak, just like I am. And he said, you never know what your body can do until you try it. It can do more than you think. And I thought, oh, that was worth meeting you for.
yeah. And it's just so true. Like you just have no idea. Like it's really your mind that puts the limits on it. And people used to say that all the time, and I'd be like, well, you haven't lived in this body then. But it's true. I've done things that I never thought I'd be able to do. And like I said, I mean, I'm not first place at anything, but who cares? I finish. That's what matters.
Yes. Yeah, I did the Danskin quite some time ago, and I was almost last. And you know what? That felt fine.
It does, yeah.
Under 3 hours, which was my goal. I think it was 2 hours and 59 minutes, but who
That's
cares?
fantastic. That's fantastic. Yeah. And by the time you get done, you're like, who cares, man? I crawl across the finish line on some of those. I'd be like, fine. I'm like, just make it so I don't have to run anymore. Is it over? Thank God. Yeah.
Well, how about your association with Sidekick Press? How has that been? Sidekick Press, and I think everybody in the world should know that Sidekick Press is the one that published this and has done a lot of author books, and you're doing some work with them. How's that been?
Fantastic. So Sidekick Press published my memoir, Straight Enough. It was a very, very supportive environment. So right from the first step, I was never left hanging to dry. Like I had a clear idea of where I was going with each step. So they made sure that I knew, this is going to happen, then this is going to happen, and then we're going to do this. And it was all written out. Not only was it written out, but it was also something that I communicated with the publishers with them all the time. I always felt supported. And then after the book came out, I wasn't left hanging either. You know, they continued to support me. They continued to help me find places to promote it. They sent out press releases. They, even now I get emails saying, hey, we thought your book would be a good fit for this, or hey, what do you think about writing something for this? We know that you wrote this and this is the same genre, blah blah blah. So excellent publishing company. I would definitely use them again. I would, you know, because there's no reason not to. Everything's included. You get all the help you could possibly want. And it's great. Yeah.
Well, you have been a good advertisement for them, which is not the purpose of your life, but nevertheless you have been. Now I think we should conclude this interview with a little advertisement for yourself and what you are doing and what you'd like to say.
Okay. Well, if you haven't read my book, Straight Enough,
Good.
it's available wherever books are sold, but you should probably go to your independent publisher or independent bookstore, because that's the best. This book meant the world to me because it was the story of my coming out, but it was a story of a lot of things, of just growing up, finding my place in the world. I feel like it's had a pretty good impact on the people around me. I've received a lot of cool emails from a lot of places and a lot of people who have said, oh, this has really helped me, or this really helped my child, you know, talk to me or whatever. And so that's been a huge and cool experience. I also have a website, LORINDABOYER.com, and I keep pretty up to date on that on the blog. Also keep up to date with like what's been published and what's coming next. So if you are interested in knowing more, checking up on what's going on with me, find out if I win the funny poem contest, which is, you know, I might, you never know. I'll be sure to put that there. So yeah.
Well, I think I've got my dose of exuberance today by just talking with you, and it's been really, really fun. I learn something different every single time I do these interviews, and this has been outstanding and fun. So I don't know when I'll see you, but I hope it will be soon, and keep that writing going, and we'll get this interview posted.
Sounds good. Thank you so much.
Thank you.